CBS invites you to Meet Corliss Archer. Corliss, the girl you're about to meet, could be in almost any family in almost any town. She's almost 15. She's very pretty, and she knows it, although she doesn't let you know she knows it. She's a strange, rather delightful mixture of child, woman, and she-devil, and we hope you'll like her. At the moment, Corliss is on the back porch of the Archer home, chewing on a pencil, making out a list. There's a deep, dark scowl on her pretty face. That list obviously presents some difficulty. It's about 10 o'clock of an August morning. Mrs. Archer, Corliss' mother, is just coming onto the porch. As usual, she looks brisk, cheerful, and more like Corliss' older sister than her mother.
Corliss, dear, don't frown like that.
Well, you'd frown, too, if you had the problem I've got. I'm going absolutely batty.
What are you doing?
Making out a list of the people I'm going to ask to my birthday party.
Oh, that shouldn't be so hard.
Well, it'd be a cinch, Mother, if you hadn't said I couldn't have more than 20. That barely scratches the surface.
Darling, be reasonable. Ours isn't exactly a mansion, you know. We'd be crowded with 20. We couldn't possibly handle more.
Well, all right, Mother. But I bet there'll be more hurt feelings around this town than you could shake a stick at.
No. Well, I'm going to do the linen. Would you like to help me?
Well, in just a few minutes, Mother. I've simply got to finish the list.
Oh, what is that hammering?
Oh, that's Dexter next door. He's at that repulsive age where he feels he always has to be hammering on things. Aren't boys at 16 positively revolting?
Will you consider it revolting when you're 16 a year from now?
Oh, girls are different. Besides, I look at least 18 now. Even Daddy says so.
Not in my hearing, he doesn't.
I know. But this morning when I came down to breakfast in this sunsuit, he went and said, hot diggity dog.
Oh, how very vulgar of him.
So I said, Daddy, I know you'd never lie to me. Don't you honestly think I look more than my age? And he said, yes, but don't tell your mother I said so or I'm a dead duck. Isn't he a lamb?
Yes. And the way he let you twist him around your little finger is a disgrace.
I think it's super. He's such a darling and a pushover for all kinds of flattery. I wish you were half as easy to handle.
Oh.
You treat me like an infant.
Corliss, how often must I tell you not to run your words together? It's an infant. Look, why don't you call Dexter over to help you with that birthday list and then come upstairs to help me?
All right, Mother. Dexter! Dexter!
What you want?
My dear boy, I cannot possibly carry on a conversation with you across our 2 backyards. Come here.
Okay, coming.
And kindly wipe your feet off. They're covered with mud. And your hands, they're filthy. And your face. Dexter, what have you been doing?
Well, don't stand in the door looking at me as if I had the plague or something. Let me in. It's perfectly clean dirt.
Dexter, you're a mess.
Holy cow, you'd be a mess, too, if you'd been combing empty lots for scrap iron. Phew. Oh, boy, this chair feels good. What's on your mind, Corliss?
Well, I wanted you to help me make out the list for my birthday party next week. It's quite a ticklish job.
Well, frankly, Corliss, just so you invite me, I don't care if you don't invite anybody else.
Oh, don't be a goon. Do you think I should ask Pamela Winthrop?
Gee, you look keen in that sunsuit, Corliss. You look like a magazine cover.
Dexter Franklin, I did not ask you to come over here to drool silly compliments.
Holy cow, I only tried to...
Do you want to help me, or do you want to go back to your insane hammering?
Gee whiz, Corliss, I'll help you. Of course I'll help. I'd do anything for you, Corliss. You know I would.
All right. We'll begin by shutting up and listening. Do you really like my sunsuit?
Hot diggity dog.
Don't be vulgar. Now, so far I've written down you and me and Mildred
And now it's about an hour later, and Corliss has finally gotten around to helping her mother with that linen.
Mother, just look at the sheet. It's in shreds.
Let me see. Oh, yes, I'm afraid that one has really earned retirement.
Mother, what's in this carton up here?
4, 5. What cotton, dear? They're all labeled.
Oh, Mother, you know what it says on this one? Lenny's baby thing. Here, hang onto the chair. I'm going to get it down. Let's look through it.
Oh, but Corliss, we've got the linen to do.
Mother, just look at this rattle. Oh, I'd love to send this to his commanding officer and say if ever Lieutenant Archer gets too big for his boots, just show him this. Remind him that it wasn't so long ago that he amused himself with it.
And look at this little blue linen blouse. I made that and did all that embroidery, and he simply loathed it. I wonder where he is now.
At Camp Pendleton, of course.
He hasn't written for a couple of weeks, dear, and they move the boys in the Air Force around quite a lot.
We'd know if he'd gone overseas, wouldn't we?
I don't know. Put the things back, dear, and put the box on the shelf again.
You know, Mother, there's one thing this war's done for me. It's made me realize that you can love a brother just as much as you love your parents. I used to loathe Lenny.
Oh, rubbish. You fought like every brother and sister, but you were always very fond of each other.
Not until Pearl Harbor. I used to think he was a beast. Dexter and I used to sit in the garage and plot against him. Once we were going to put ground glass in his oatmeal.
No.
Honestly. Dexter actually ground up a Coca-Cola bottle to do it, but we decided not to. Of course, we were just kids then. Now I'm terribly proud of him.
Of course you are, dear.
Mother, if you loathed and despised somebody very much, would it make any difference to you if anything happened to any of their relatives?
I don't believe I've ever been faced with that problem, Corliss. Why do you ask?
Because I'm faced with it now. And frankly, I don't know what to do. Well, I think one can be sympathetic with people and all that, but I don't believe in being mauling about things. Do you, Mother?
Well, I think the word you're trying to say is maudlin, dear.
All right, then, maudlin. After all, Betty Campbell was never one of my best friends, as you know, Mother. And I don't see why I should invite her to my party now, just because her brother's been reported missing in the Pacific.
Oh, no. Tony Campbell.
Yes, Mother.
How awful. When did they hear?
This morning, Dexter just told me all about it. They had a telegram from the Navy Department in Washington. It said he was missing.
Oh, poor Mrs. Campbell. How dreadful.
I know. It's awful.
Tony went through school with Lenny.
I guess I could ask Betty to the party. I mean, we haven't actually quarreled or anything.
Well, she may not feel like going to parties.
Well, that's exactly what I thought, but Dexter says no. He's already seen the Campbells. He says they're all being wonderfully brave and everything. They're quite sure Tony is a prisoner and perfectly safe, and they're not going to be gloomy about it.
Good for them.
And Dexter says that I should invite her now because I haven't been very nice to Betty this summer, and now he thinks I should be.
Well, what have you got against Betty all of a sudden, anyway?
Oh, I don't know. She's sort of snippy, you know. Tries to ritz people because she once had her picture in Life.
When was that?
Oh, months ago. And they did that article about high schools. Dexter thinks she's very cute. Now, I'm sure that's the only reason he wants me to ask her.
Well, I wouldn't be guided by Dexter in this case, Corliss. I think it's entirely up to you and how you feel about it.
Oh, you. You're too fiendishly clever for me to cope with. You're always putting me on my honor or leaving things to my better nature. Then I always do a lot of things I don't want to do.
Well, hand me those tablecloths, dear. Thanks. I never knew Betty had her picture in Life. I didn't see it.
Well, I'll bet you're the only person in this town who hasn't. You think she'd done something terrific, instead of just barging in front of everybody at the physics lab so that Life man couldn't help but take a picture of her.
It's probably a very attractive picture. I think Betty's a very pretty girl.
Well, there are quite a few other girls at Jefferson who aren't exactly hard on the eyes.
You wouldn't by any chance be referring to yourself.
Well, the Life man took dozens of pictures of all of us. And it was just the merest fluke that Betty's happened to be chosen.
But Corliss, don't fold the sheet so viciously.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was an old one anyway. Can you imagine, Mother? Betty bought 20 copies of Life that week. 20!
Why so many? What for?
She says so that all her children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren can have a copy each.
Poor Corliss. You know very well you'd have done exactly the same thing.
Well, believe me, if I ever have my picture in a magazine, I hope it'll be for something more important than that.
More important than what?
Being in the right place at the right time in a tight-fitting sweater.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, Dexter.
Hello, Mrs. Archer.
Woo! I'm completely woofed.
That swing will be whooped, too, if you always throw yourself onto it that way.
Oh, boy, am I exhausted.
Where have you been all afternoon?
We've been working in the Victory Garden.
I love that. All you did was nibble radishes and make cracks while I did the work.
Sit down, Dexter, and as far away from me as possible. You look like something the cat dragged in. Just look at your shirt.
Holy cow, what do you want me to garden in a tuxedo?
Don't pay any attention to it, Dexter. You can come and sit on the couch next to me.
Gee, That's a beautiful dress you've got on, Mrs. Archer.
Why, thank you, Dexter.
For heaven's sakes. He's only seen the dress about 1,000,000 times. He's just fishing for an invitation to dinner, that's all.
Holy cow, I only tried
I
to...
don't believe that Dexter has to stoop to flattery for that, Corliss.
You'd think not. Especially since he's only eaten with us about 3 times a week since he could crawl.
Hey!
Corliss, don't kick his legs like that.
Oh, I didn't hurt him, Mother. I was only being coy. Look at him blush, will you? Even his silly ears get red.
Aw.
Honestly, boys at 16 are positively gruesome, aren't they?
Oh, shut up. You won't even be 15 till next month.
Would you like to stay for dinner, Dexter?
Oh, gosh, yes. Mom and Dad are going out this evening, and it's the maid's night out. They left some stuff for me in the icebox, but I'd much rather eat over here if it's okay with you.
Well, of course, but we're only having leftovers, too.
Oh, that's all right. I always think other people's leftovers aren't nearly as dull as your own.
Oh, why don't you go and wash your hands, Dexter? They are positively foul.
Oh, he'll wash them before dinner. Don't always pick on him, Corliss.
Oh, Mother, he doesn't mind. After all, you only pick on those you love. Look at the way you pick on Daddy, and he adores it and purrs like a cat.
I do not pick on your father.
Sure you do. You scold him and shut him up when he gets long-winded and boss him around. Only you generally throw in a kiss here or there, so he doesn't even know you're picking on him.
Answer the phone, Corliss. I think Louise is in her room.
No, she's in the kitchen. She'll get it.
You can pick on me all you like, Corliss, if you'll just throw in a kiss here and there.
Miss Archer.
Oh, yes, Louise.
Mr. Archer on the phone,
Oh.
ma'am, for you.
Oh, thanks, Louise.
Don't get up, ma'am. The cord will reach if Dexter will get his big feet out of the way so I can bring you the telephone.
Hi, Louise.
It'll take more than a hi, Louise, to explain away all that dirt you tracked into my kitchen, young man.
I'll clean it up, Louise.
I'll say you will. Here, Miss Archer, can you reach all right?
Yes, just. Thank you, Louise. Hello, Harry. How are you, dear?
Hello, Janet. Guess who's sitting right here in my office?
Oh, Harry, it isn't Lenny. Don't breathe down my neck, children. Harry, is it Lenny?
No, try again.
Mrs. Roosevelt?
No, but he travels almost as much.
Gary Cooper.
No, but he's just as handsome. You're getting warmer.
Well, who? Don't be so maddening, darling.
It's George.
Uncle George.
Oh,
how
boy.
grand.
He just flew in an hour ago, and I'm bringing him home to dinner. Just a minute. He says he won't touch any leftovers.
Oh, you're just using your brother's uniform to get a better dinner.
Well, you can't blame me for trying. So long, darling. See you in a little while.
All right, dear. Bye.
Oh, gosh, I'm thrilled. I adore Uncle George.
Oh, he's swell. So many of the people I know have the crummiest relatives, but he's swell.
Mrs. Archer, we can't very well offer Commander Archer macaroni and meatballs, now can we?
Look at Louise beaming, will you?
Well, I'm just as fond of your Uncle George as anyone.
I'll go out right away and buy some nice, thick steaks, Louise. You think he'll like that?
Yes, ma'am, and I'll make a list of what else we'll need.
All right, Louise. I'll be with you in a minute. See how we're fixed for beer? He always likes that.
Yes, ma'am.
Goodbye, Dexter. Don't slam the door as you go out. Call me up tomorrow sometime.
Hey, why? He's not company, for heaven's sake.
Run along.
Holy cow, I mean, he's practically the same as my uncle, isn't he, Mrs. Archer? I mean, gee whiz, I've known him all my life, practically, and I've never even called him anything else but Uncle George.
Yes, and I think it's high time you stopped. People who didn't know might think you and me were related. Heaven forbid. Go on, sweetie pie. Scram.
Now, don't be so childish, Corliss. Of course Dexter will stay.
Nya.
Who's being childish now?
Oh, you think you're so smart?
Stop squabbling, you two. Now, I've got to dash to that market. Corliss, you'll help Louise with the table, won't you?
I will, Mrs. Archer. It'll take her 2 hours to get dressed.
Bring me back a gardenia for my hair, will you, Mother?
I will not, and you stay out of my perfume.
You know, Dexter, Uncle George is my idea of a real storybook uncle.
Women are so illogical. How can he be real in storybook, too?
He can. He is. He's frightfully good looking, you know, in a navy bronze sort of way. And he's a bachelor, and
Yeah, and can he spin a mean yarn, too? And remember when we were little, how he told us stories about each of the medal ribbons he's got?
he's got an amazing instinct about things, too. Many's the time when I've been broke to the world, and out of a clear sky there'd be a letter from Manila, or Hong Kong, or someplace. There'd be a $5 bill enclosed. And for no reason, mind you. No birthday, or Christmas, or anything. Just instinct.
Holy cow. What an uncle.
Well, I think I'll go up and look at my closet and figure out what to wear.
Do you suppose I ought to change?
Why, no, Dexter. Uncle George has seen lots of service in the South Seas, and I'm sure the sight of a repulsive-looking beachcomber would only make him feel at home.
The table looks very nice, Louise.
Dexter said it, all by himself. Oh, you forgot the little forks for the shrimp cocktails, Dexter.
Couldn't we use toothpicks? I'm thinking of the washing up afterwards.
For Commander Archer, we'll use cocktail forks.
Where's Corliss?
I'll bet she isn't half dressed yet. Holy cow, but it takes that girl longer to get dressed than any woman I know.
Thank goodness, here they are. Louise, please run up and tell Corliss to hurry.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll go.
You stay here. She may still be in the shower.
Hi, Janet. Here we are.
Hello, Janet. The fleet's in.
Oh, George, how wonderful.
Dexter.
Hello, Uncle George.
Guys, how are the boys going? Where's Corliss?
She started dressing 2 hours ago, and she's still at it. Can you beat that?
Oh, she'll be down in a moment.
Dexter, will you leave us for a moment?
Huh? Oh, holy cow.
Scram, Dexter. We have affairs of state to discuss.
For heaven's sake, child, are you still in your slip? Your Uncle George is here.
Oh, gosh, Louise, I can't make up my mind what to wear. What's Mother wearing?
Never mind. You put on your white organdy and hurry up about it.
But that's such a baby dress. Don't you think the blue makes me look, well, you know, sort of more glamorous?
Listen, young lady, I diapered you, and I don't want any nonsense. Now, you put on this white. Here, I'll hold it. Now, you slip into it. Well, stand still.
Well, gosh, I've got to look at a mirror, haven't I? Oh, holy cow, I look like an infant.
Corliss, I hear enough about that holy cow from Dexter. Now, I want you to quit using that expression. Well, stand still and let me hook you. Holy cow, indeed.
They have holy cows in India.
Well, we're not in India. There. Now, brush your hair and hurry. And be careful holding your skirts going down the stairs.
Okay.
That dress is very long, and of course you would be wearing your highest heels.
Who is it?
It's me.
Well, go away, Dexter.
Holy cow, aren't you ready yet?
There's that holy cow again. She'll be ready in a second, Dexter.
Well, you take longer to... Gee, you look nice, Corliss.
Oh, I look as pale as a ghost. I wish Mother'd let me use a little rouge.
That's so. You're lucky she let you use lipstick at your age.
They won't even let me use perfume yet.
I think you smell very nice without it, Corliss.
Are you still hanging in the doorway? Why don't you go down and join the others?
I would, but they kicked me out. They're all in the living room whispering like mad.
What about?
I don't know. They kicked me out, I told you.
How?
Uncle George just said, "Scram, Dexter. We have affairs of state to discuss." And I scrammed. But I saw them go into a huddle.
Couldn't you listen at the keyhole?
Well, that isn't very ethical. And besides, I couldn't hear a thing. Oh, hey, they're coming into the hall.
Hi up there, Dexter. Where's that niece of mine?
Oh, my gosh. Coming, Uncle George. Dexter, get out of the way.
Pick up your skirts a little, you'll trip on it and tear the organ.
Okay, okay. Oh, Uncle George, you darling.
Stand back, everyone. A vision in white is about to descend the stairs. You stay up there, Dexter, and let her make an entrance.
Oh, Uncle George, this is super.
Careful, Corliss.
Help, my heel's caught.
Dr. George!
I got her.
Are you hurt, Pet?
No, I'm all right.
Listen, what happened? Are you hurt?
No, I'm all right. But, Louise, I'm afraid I tore the organdy.
Holy cow.
How's your steak, George?
Janet, it's a poem. Louise, anytime you want to enlist in the Navy as a cook, just let me know.
Why, thank you, Commander Archer.
Daddy, why do you keep on looking at Mother and Uncle George and winking?
Who, me? Never winked at man or beast in my life.
You have, too, ever since we sat down to dinner. Hasn't he, Dexter?
Huh? I don't know. I've been busy eating.
Well, I've noticed it. There's something very mysterious going on here. There, I saw it. You winked at Mother again, Daddy.
If a man hasn't the right to wink at his own charming wife at his own dinner table, I'd like to know who has.
There! Now you winked at Mother, Uncle George.
Oh, George, you and Harry are about as subtle as sledgehammers.
Dexter, what are you groping under the table for?
I was watching, and they're all kicking each other's legs under the table. Hey, there is something going on.
Oh, why don't you come out with it, George?
Yes, why don't you? You're all acting like a lot of conspirators.
Maybe we're just dazzled by your charms.
Oh, you. Anyone would know you and Daddy were brothers. He always ribbed me like he does. Only he's facetious at breakfast, too. Isn't that revolting? Here, Daddy, catch.
It's no use blowing me airy kisses like that, my child. That last crack of yours has wounded me to the quick. Here, I work my fingers to the bone, making bright conversation. They call me facetious.
Never mind, Angel. I still adore you. Oh, for heaven's sake, what's going on? Now everybody's winking.
Janet, somebody is almost Pretty enough for what I have in mind. Now, don't tell her what it means, Dexter.
Oh, cut it out, Uncle George. She's conceited enough already. She
Oh, shut
told
up,
me...
Dexter. What do you mean for what I have in mind?
Shall I tell her?
Well, if you don't pretty soon, Harry will. Louise, will you bring in some more gravy, please?
Yes, ma'am, but not until he tells her, please. I want to know, too.
Please tell me. Pretty, please.
All right. Come here, Corliss.
Hey, look out for your chair. Okay, I got it. Boy, did she get up in a hurry.
All right, Corliss. Now, let me see your right hand.
What for?
Oh, never mind. Uh-huh. Feels pretty strong. How's your grip?
Grip?
Yes. Bones and muscles of the wrist under good control?
Well, I can beat Dexter at tennis. Even he said I've got a good backhand drive.
Tennis and smashing bottles are two very different things.
What? What are you talking about?
Oh, come on, George. Tell her.
If you don't, I'll scream.
Okay. Corliss, how would you like to christen the destroyer?
Oh!
Holy cow.
Well, Corliss?
Oh, no. You don't mean it. You're kidding. Me, Christen the Destroyer? Me?
Yes, you, darling.
Holy cow. Holy catfish, what a break. Well, don't stand there like a drip. Say something. If you don't want to christen it, believe me, I'd give my eye teeth to do it.
Thanks, Dexter, but there's a sort of tradition that the ceremony should be performed, if possible, by a reasonably attractive female.
Oh,
gee
gosh.
whiz.
I've got to sit down. I'm shaking.
You can sit on my lap if you're not too grown up.
Oh, gosh. I still can't quite believe it. I've seen it so often in the newsreels, but I never dreamed that it could happen to me. You're wonderful, Uncle George. You're too super for words.
Carlos, don't strangle the poor man.
You keep out of this. It's a lovely death.
Holy cow. I never wished I was a girl until this moment.
Why, Dexter, you can sit on my lap and hug me if that's what you want.
It's like a beautiful dream, Dexter. Do you know what they're all talking about in the living room right this minute?
What?
They're debating whether I should fly back to the Navy Yard alone with Uncle George, or whether Mother will come with me. Just think, Dexter. I'll have 2 or 3 days in New York, with all the theaters and shops and everything. Oh, isn't it all too wonderful for words?
Will you have to make a speech when you break the champagne bottle?
I don't think so. Oh, gosh, I hope not. I'd be petrified. Oh, no, I'm sure I wouldn't have to. They always have scads of admirals and people in top hats to make the speeches and things.
I hope so. If you had to make a speech, it'd be brutal.
Oh, boy. Will Mildred burn when I tell her I'm going to christen the destroyer. She'll be green with envy. All the girls will be.
You make me sick.
What?
You heard me. You get a terrific thing handed to you just because you happen to be a girl. A terrific thing that's practically almost sacred. Like christening a destroyer that'll maybe blast some Jap battleship out of the water. And all you can think about is will that little drip Mildred turn green with envy.
That is not all I'm thinking of. I realize what a
Hey,
wonderful...
shh, pipe down a minute.
What is it?
Oh, there goes our phone, and there's nobody home. Back in a sec.
Well, where's Holy Cow going in such a hurry?
Oh, hello, Louise. Isn't it wonderful?
It certainly is. But how about helping me with the dishes?
Oh, I'm so jittery, Louise. I drop every plate. Stay on the porch a minute, Louise, and talk to me.
Well, I've got...
Dexter will be back in a sec, and then we'll both help you. I'm so thrilled, I don't know what to do. Look at my hand. It's shaking like an aspirin leaf.
Well, if you're like this now, what'll you be like when you're up there in front of all the crowds and the movie cameras?
I'll die, that's all. I'll just die. I'll never be able to hit the side of a ship, let alone the end.
What are you going to wear?
Well, I don't know. Do you think Mother'd buy me a new outfit? They have a perfectly divine suit and white shark skin in the winter Vincent's. Oh, it's simply heavenly.
Expensive?
Well, no, not for what it is. But it has a very unfortunate price.
How do you mean unfortunate?
Well, it's $37.50. And every time I've walked Mother past Benson's window shopping and sort of said how cute it was, she's always seen the tag and said, that's exactly the price of a war bond.
Well, that was that, huh?
Yes, that's always the end of the discussion. Oh, there's Dexter. He always comes at 90 miles an hour. Hey, did you get the call before they hung up?
Yeah.
Well, calm her down, Dexter, and then bring her into the kitchen. I've got a sink full of dishes.
You know who that was on the phone?
No, who?
It was Betty Campbell. They just got another telegram.
Bad news?
No, wonderful news. Tony's definitely a prisoner, and he's safe, and he's been cited for bravery. He shot down 3 zeros. Isn't that terrific? 3 zeros single-handed. The Campbells have all gone nuts.
How marvelous.
At first, I could hardly hear what Betty was saying. She was all choked up. You know, she used to be kind of mean to Tony, like you and me were to Lenny.
I know just how she feels.
She said, imagine, Dexter, I used to drive tacks into Tony's bicycle tires when I got mad at him. And now he shot down 3 Jap planes. She feels simply terrible. I feel kind of lousy myself because I used to give her the tacks.
What's Betty doing? I mean, now?
Nothing. Just sitting at home calling up all her friends. Seems to be quite a gang over at Betty's. All the kids drinking Tony's health and lemonade. She wanted me to...
Wanted you to what? Go on.
Oh, nothing.
Did she want you to come over?
Uh-huh. She wants you too, Corliss. I told her I'd had dinner here, and she said to bring you along.
Honestly? Did she really?
Yeah. Holy cow, why not?
Well, we haven't been very friendly for a while.
I know. I told you all summer long you've been pretty much of a stinker to her.
Did she really ask you to bring me? Cross your heart?
She said, quote, bring Corliss with you. I like her, end quote.
Maybe she was just being polite.
Holy cow, Betty was never polite in her life. To a thing like this, you don't ask people unless you want them. Holy mackerel, you don't invite people to drink to your brother's health just to be polite.
Dexter, did you say anything about my christening the destroyer?
No, I could hardly get in a word edgewise. Betty was jabbering about Tony, 19 to the dozen, and the other kids kept on yelling into the phone to come on over. I tell you, they've all gone nuts with joy over there.
All right, then. Let you and I go. I'd love to.
Oh, gosh, Corliss, that'd be swell.
We'll tell the others. Come on. Mother, isn't it wonderful? The Campbells just had a
I
telegram.
know, dear. Mrs. Campbell just phoned. We're all going over there to congratulate them. We were just coming to tell you.
I just spoke to Betty over the phone. Can you imagine? 3 zeros. Oh, boy, I wish I was 18.
Now, don't worry, Dexter. You will be soon enough.
Uncle George.
Yes, Corliss?
Darling, don't frown so.
Uncle George,
Yes, dear?
can you choose anyone you like to christen this destroyer?
Yes, within reason. Why?
This friend of mine's brother, the one you just heard about, Tony Campbell, he shot down 3 zeros, and now he's a prisoner.
Did a nice job before they got him, though.
Yes, and that's why I want to ask you something. Uncle George, I think it's super of you to have asked me to christen the destroyer, and I'll never forget it. But I think maybe Tony's sister would be a better person to do it.
Corliss, dear, perhaps.
Let her finish, Janet.
What I mean is that I think when you launch a ship, well, I think there ought to be more reason than just because you have a wonderful uncle. And Betty's got a reason. Because her brother brought down those planes, and he's going to get a medal. She's a very cute girl, Uncle George. She's had her picture in Life. And I know she'd do it beautifully and be thrilled to death. So would you? Ask her, I mean.
Oh, you nice kid. You nice kid. Sure, I'll be glad to ask her.
But don't tell her that I...
No. That'll be our secret. All right, Janet. Let's go on over to the Campbells.
Yes, George. We'll go on ahead, Dexter. You follow us with Corliss.
Okay. You know what I think?
Tell Corliss. It'll help.
You bet I will. Corliss, this is practically a perfectly clean handkerchief.
Thank you, Dexter.
You know what I think? I think you're pretty wonderful. That's what I think.
Oh, don't be a drip. One of these days, my brother Lenny's going to bag 6 zeros, and then I'll launch a battleship.
Atta girl, Corliss.
Come on, let's go.
You have heard an audition of a new radio series, Meet Corliss Archer. This series is written by the well-known screenwriter F. Hugh Herbert. You will be interested to know that Mr. Herbert has just sold this series to Good Housekeeping, and the first Corliss story begins in that magazine in the January issue. In this presentation, the role of Corliss was played by Priscilla Lyon, Dexter by Irvin Lee, Mrs. Archer was played by Gloria Holden, and Mr. Archer by Frank Martin. Louise the Archer Maid was played by Mary Wicks, and Uncle George by Norman Field. Original music was composed and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.